Hey everybody, welcome to This Pink Cloud. We are a show that is about multiple pathways to recovery. Yeah, and mental health and all that good stuff. I am DJ Kelly Reverb. There we go. Anyway, we got a room full of people here today. We've got the exciting conclusion of Pookie's brother, Jonathan, right?
Jonathan, what was his last name?
Johnson, right?
Johnson. Jonathan Jones.
Because I like Pookie Johnson. Sounds better than Pookie. Well, I don't know.
His name,
Chambers.
is
The
not
Chambers
brothers. Yeah.
It's the Chambers. They should be
Right.
a band, dude. The Chamber Brothers.
Yeah.
We do have a band.
They have a band.
Oh, nice. Well,
Oh,
there we go.
shit.
Well, we'll get into
We'll
that
have
in a
to plug
second.
that.
But anyway, so
Like
ladies and
butt
gentlemen,
plug.
give it up for everybody's favorite serial killer, Chad Lamons, everybody.
It's actually, I'm going by Chafe Lemons.
Okay.
Now.
And
Thanks, Jeff.
hey, guys.
You're doing great with the sound effects.
Thank you.
You're doing good.
Hold on. Give us your impersonation.
Again?
Yeah.
It's my name's Chad, and I fucking buffalo. Is that it?
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. Today is there's clouds all in the sky, but I'm happy to be a part of this pink clouds that is in the sky today. That is my favorite thing. So there's two favorite things in the entire United world. Number one, Madonna. Oh, fuck.
Madonna.
I love Madonna so much. And number two is Tom Sam. We love Tom Sam's, the grocery store, because then I can get my nutritional needs and stuff, and I can buy fatty stuff too, and that way I can get a bottom shaped like Madonna's bottom.
Madonna.
While listening to Madonna while I shop at Tom Sam.
All right. and
Cool, like a cigarette.
and that will all be edited out.
No, it won't.
Anyway, dude, so excited to have you.
Hold on, what's his
Good to
name?
see you, Jonathan. John.
John
What-
Chambers,
do you
everybody.
prefer John or Jonathan?
It's actually just John, John. That's how it was on.
Okay, so I will call you Jonathan then.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Everybody
He might
give it up
slap the shit out
for
of you.
Give it up for John. How are
John
you, buddy?
Chambers.
Johnny.
John Chambers, everybody. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks. I never did anything like this.
Well, so we heard a little bit about your bro,
Yeah.
but now let's hear your story, and you know how things went down from your perspective.
And
Yeah,
south
yeah.
of the border, because you,
Yeah.
Dude.
Mexico.
Okay. So basically, you already heard like how it started. Like, yeah, dad's alcoholic, drug addict,
Right.
in and out of prison. From my perspective, it seemed like I have a few memories of him like being there, but like real little. So
Right.
most of my memories are just me, my brothers and sisters, and my mom.
Yeah.
And then she passed away when I was 10. And then we start going in and out of like different foster families, foster homes, and this and that. Some of them are pretty nice, but some of them are pretty fucked up.
Right.
And
And you were talking about like some of them were very affluent families, but then there was a
one-
single wide. Right?
yeah.
So
Yeah. So
you were going to say something. There was one what?
there was maybe one or two. Like, I don't want to put their names out there, but there was two that like they had money, and it was like, yeah, I'm gonna take advantage. Like, oh, you want to put me in sports? Bet, let's play the most expensive sport I can.
I need a bike.
And I'm gonna
I need a horse.
Yeah, exactly.
And water polo.
Equestrian
Yeah,
equestrian events.
yeah. And so really, like, yeah, we start smoking weed, and I didn't realize this then. Like, this is most of this stuff is like insight I've gained through working the steps and reviews and inventory, self-reflection, meditation, and shit like that. But looking back, I realized back then, like, a feeling, not necessarily like before my mom died, I thought everybody was like poor and everybody's dad was an alcoholic and a drug addict. I just thought that was normal.
Right.
But then when you start going to foster families and maybe they got kids and you're like, hey, man, I'm different than you.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And so I remember like feeling like different, and then just like this immense fear of like, I've got to please these people,
Right.
or I'm not going to have anywhere to live.
Yeah.
I got to act a certain way. I got to maintain a certain demeanor and character
Uh-huh.
and be this kind of person.
It would seem like a lot of pressure on a kid.
For sure,
To
for
all of a
sure.
sudden, it's like you feel like you're auditioning for a family,
Yeah.
like 24/7.
But then there's
You
this
know?
point of where it's like you just can't take it and you're just like, fuck it.
Right.
And then it's like, that's
you
the
go
scary
ham,
spot.
right?
That's the scary part. You know what I
Okay.
mean? When you're just like, fuck this.
That's when you find
yeah.
new parents.
And then introduce drugs, and it's like, okay, I feel a little bit less afraid. I can actually relax. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I can be okay. And that's when it was like, he said, like, bro, this is how I'm gonna live the rest of my goddamn life because there's a way to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Compared to what it's been, this is perfect.
Well, so now, did y'all's dad pass away as well?
So he died whenever I was 18 from a heroin overdose.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'll get to that a little bit
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
So we're going in and out of foster families. By the time I'm like 14, my oldest sister is legally old enough to adopt me and my brother.
Oh, okay.
He's like about to be 17.
Right.
And so I'm like 14. And by this time, it's like, you can't tell me shit. Like, especially my sister, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing my own thing. And plus,
Right.
I've got this this solution for the way that I feel. And I'm sorry, I love you, but if you're getting in the way of that, I'll do whatever the fuck it takes to
Right.
maintain my survival homeostasis of this is how I can be okay.
Yeah.
What did that? So did that just start with like weed and alcohol? Or?
Yeah, it started with weed and alcohol, but I remember like there's so many warnings. Like I remember one foster family sitting me down and being like, "Your dad is an alcoholic and a drug addict. He's fucking does all kinds of wild shit. He's been to prison. He's ruined everybody's life. This shit is genetic, so you got to be extra careful." I was like, "Yeah,
Right.
Why the fuck would I do drugs? Like that makes no sense. You see all the
Right.
all the pain it's fucking caused me. Like why are you even telling me this?
Right.
Fuck you for even bringing this conversation up. Really. Yeah, you know."
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, these guys are cool. They smoke weed. They're not fucking hurting people, stealing, and tearing people's houses up. And, you know, all this
Right.
crazy shit that you think weed is going to do. So then I'm like, and it fucking works. It feels amazing. And I'm like, oh, fuck, yeah, especially like alcohol. Like, I don't have to, I can be comfortable. I'm not afraid. I have a little bit of courage. I can just like be however the fuck I want to be, you know?
Right.
And I don't have to like maintain any kind of facade or anything. I can just be fucking.
Yeah. It lowers your inhibition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so once I realized that, I was like, man, what if they're all wrong about all these drugs, you know? So now
They're all
Yeah.
good for you, dude.
I'm
what
eager
the fuck
to
is
try.
that? Right.
Not like crack
Right.
and heroin.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, those are the ones you can't do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those are
Uh-huh.
the ones that, you know, kill people and shit or whatever. But like LSD and
Hell yeah.
you know, like all that, I'm like, yes, let's see what all this shit is about,
Right.
And so I do my best to do them all, really. Mm-hmm. And but my sister, she's legally responsible for me.
And so your sister's what, 18 when she adopts y'all?
I
or
think
how old
she
was
was 21. I think you have to
21?
be legally
Okay,
like
you gotta be
21 to be
21.
able to adopt
I
other
gotcha.
people.
Sure.
And so she does that, but at this time it's like I'm going to school or I'm enrolled in school, but there's so many days where it's like you can go to school and then you might not be able to smoke weed until you get off school or this or that. Basically, I have this state of mind like I'm not doing a bitch ass thing unless I'm okay,
Loaded, yeah.
loaded.
Right.
And so many days I didn't feel like I was loaded enough to go to school. So
Yeah.
I would not go to school. You know what I mean?
Hey, makes sense, dude.
Yeah, like,
Totally.
okay, I could go to school and be fucking miserable, or I could not go to school and go possibly find a way to get loaded.
Yeah,
Right.
dude.
Yeah.
So I
sure.
did that all throughout 9th and 10th grade
Uh-huh.
to where, like, okay, the courts are involved. They're like, you got to go to school. And I'm like, okay, I'll go to school. But I had the intention of like, yeah, okay, I don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
But it would come a day where, like, okay, it's either go to school
Or go to
sober,
juvie, right?
or not go to school and get loaded. And the consequences don't crowd into my mind. Type
Yeah.
shit, you know?
Yeah.
So it kept happening over and over, and to the point where I got truant so many times, they're like, if you skip one more time, we're going to lock up your legal guardians. And I'm like, damn.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, so of course, I'm like, okay, I can manage this. I'll just go to each period,
Right.
sign in to where the teacher thinks I'm there. On paper, I'm in school,
Right.
but I'm not going to be in school.
Right.
And by this time, like, all the principals knew me by face, by name, and they're like,
You had a reputation.
yeah. And they actually, like, on paper, I was in school, but one of the principals sees me walking down the street, like, smoking a blunt or something, calls, does whatever she has to do to all that.
Yeah, to report you.
Yeah, so I go to court, and they're like, either you can sign him out of school or one of you guys goes to jail. You know, because my sister was married, so her husband was, like, looking at charges or whatever.
Right.
So they signed me out of school, but they're like, we can't just let you sit home all day.
Sure, right.
And just fuck around.
Right.
That. So somebody tells them about this, it's like a boot camp / drug rehab treatment for juvenile.
Oh, like scared
kids.
straight or something like that?
Something. I don't know what they were told or
Right.
what, but basically I was just, they actually tricked me into it. They were like, yeah, it's going to be cool. It's like Mexico beach.
It's
There's
gonna
going to
be
be
lit,
this is
dude.
what they told me. They said you'll get to go to the beach and there's going to be a water slide. And so
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
dude.
yeah, bro.
That would for sure. Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm in.
And that's
like,
where
I'll-
weed comes from at
Exactly.
this point.
I'm like,
dude.
yeah, get me however many miles closer to the cartel, and I'll
Right. Yeah,
I'll make
right.
something shake. You know what I mean?
Right.
Goals.
And so I get there, they're like, it's only 2 months. Da, 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 da. I go there for 2 months, and the 2 months comes up, and they're like, we're not going to let you go. Like, you haven't changed a single fucking bit since you got here. Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, oh, shit, I got to get it together and at least fake the funk. And so a month later, they let me leave. I come back to Texas. I get into more trouble, and my sister is like, I'm sending you back to Mexico. Because she just like,
Right.
her intentions were really good, but she was super not equipped to handle the
Well,
fucking-
dude, she's your sister,
Exactly.
man, and she's doing you a solid,
For
and
sure.
you're screwing her, basically.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not even, you haven't even heard.
Let's get to it, dude.
Yeah. So she's like, I'm sending you back to Mexico. I'm like, okay. Hang up the phone, and she's at work. Her husband's at work. He's a musician, right? Like, die-hard musician, has like millions of guitars, expensive guitars. I'm like, I steal almost every single one of his guitars.
Millions of them.
Dude.
It was like at least 5, 6, like nice Ibanez,
Yeah.
fancy shit.
Yeah.
And I take them.
Pawn shop.
Yeah, I'm like 15, so I'm like off Dolphin, like.
Oh,
bro,
dog.
you got ID.
That is so funny, dude. Like everybody always brings up,
Yeah.
like the old timers. God, like what's that group that's off of like kind of Lake Highlands area? I can't remember what
Lake
it's called.
Highlands?
No, it's
Bellwood.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a guy that always goes, hey man, you guys gonna mess up and gonna wind up off Dolphin Road.
Oh, right off
He
Dolphin
always-
Road.
Smoke crack off
He always
Dolphin
says
Road.
everything, but the only thing I can ever understand from him
Dolphin Road.
is Dolphin Road.
Dolphin Road.
Dolphin Road.
Dolphin Road and Hatchery.
Hey, man, you gonna
Dolphin Road
wind
and
up,
Hatchery.
hey, you gonna wind up off Dolphin Road?
Yeah.
So anyway,
So I pawn him.
so you wound up off Dolphin Road.
I get somebody to pawn the stuff for me. I get the money, and like, I haven't talked to my dad in years, but I know he lives in Houston, and
Okay.
I know I got to get the fuck out of here because I ain't going back to Mexico.
Right.
So I just get a Greyhound ticket. I had like I don't know, like I found his number in a letter or something in my sister's shit, and I just like take the number, put it in my pocket, go downtown Houston, call him like, hey bro,
Hey, bro.
you gotta fucking come get me. I'm downtown. He
Right.
picks me up, and I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna be wild, but I was kind of desperate, you know.
Uh-huh.
And so as soon as he picks me up, he's like, "Hey, you got any money?" I'm like, "Shit." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'll pay you back when we get to the house." We stopped straight,
love
like
it.
from
All right.
downtown, like Third Ward, Houston crack house. He's like,
Yeah.
buys crack, fires it up right in front of me, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, I just fucked up. Like I got myself
Right.
innocent."
I just went deep.
Because
I just
before,
went deep.
before that, it's like it's
Right.
fun.
And this
We're
is your
ju-
dad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We're just
but I
doing-
love how you called your dad bro. Hey, bro. Hey, bro, you got to come pick me up.
Everybody's bro.
Hey, bro.
Before this point, it was all like, you know, LSD, ecstasy, a little bit of cocaine, and I remember
And
even-
LSD is not necessarily addicting.
No,
I mean, it can
was
be,
like
but
fun party shit.
yeah.
And then I'm in this position where I'm like, oh, this is a little grimy.
Right.
So I'm staying with him, and at first I'm just like, nah, man, just give me some weed, like this
Yeah.
Houston, let's get some syrup, you know,
Right.
still trying to have fun,
Right.
and enjoy myself. and control myself, or not really control, just enjoy myself.
Right.
And but
Bond with your father.
exactly. That's exactly what it was. Because one night I'm like, hey, bro, give me some powder. Let's get some. Fuck all this crack. Like, go get some powder and bring it back. I'll do powder. You just do your thing.
Right.
And as soon as it runs out, like, I'm like, damn, let's see though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And so I started smoking crack with him, and it was like, I'm super grateful for the experience, because if I wouldn't have done that, like, I would have no idea what kind of person my dad was.
Right.
Other than like a few memories of him being drunk and like taking us fishing or like tearing up a fucking Thanksgiving dinner type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this was like, I get to see him on not by any means any kind of like father-son relationship, but just like, how are you as a person in the streets and shit like that. So I'm grateful for that. But that lasted maybe like 6 months or something. He gets arrested, and we're like at this girlfriend at one of his girlfriend's house, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I don't fucking know this lady, so I call my aunt in Houston. I'm like, hey, you gotta come get me. Dad got arrested. It's awkward as fuck. She gets me, and of course, like a normal regular adult who realizes the fucked up situation that I put her in is like, she calls my sister. My sister and my husband like show up there a couple hours later, and I'm like, she gave me a whole bunch of Valium, and I'm like, oh, this is a setup, dog, you know? And so my sister and her husband show up, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, fuck it, yeah, I'll get in the car, and you know what I mean? And, I get in the car, and I'm like, yeah.
They dope you up to fucking, I love that, dude. They'll fucking like just hit you with a trank dart. Right there. Dude, you just took one.
That's what it took.
You just...
You're cool.
You just shot yourself.
You're crazy.
In the fucking neck.
Some Jurassic Park type stuff.
Right. You're crazy. You crazy.
In my mind, I'm just like, yeah, take me back to Dallas. I'll fucking hit the streets again, you know?
Sure.
Well, I fall asleep because I've been up a few days, and I wake up and we're on Interstate 10, and I'm like, oh, fuck, we're going back to Mexico, straight to Mexico. And I'm like, okay. So in my mind, I'm like, still like, fuck that, you know? So, but I know now, when you were in Mexico, like at the facility, was it fucking hard and like? Yeah, it was fucked up, bro. It was fucked
militant up. They shut this bitch down.
Yeah, it got shut down. Like we couldn't.
And I love how it's in Mexico, so U.S. law doesn't apply.
Exactly. Yeah, right? Like no health laws. We took one shower a week out of a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. We pulled up out of a well.
Oh, so this is like hardcore. Labor. You don't want to go there.
No. And so. I can't like run away in the middle of Texas. I don't know anybody. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, hey, let me see the maps go. I just wanted to look and see around. I mapped this shit out. Like, where does Interstate 10 hit California? And so I remember like 8 months before any of this shit ever happened, I had a homeboy that moved to Huntington Beach. So I'm
solid.
Okay, let's see, where does Interstate 10 hit California? And where do I got to go from there to get to Huntington Beach?
Right.
So we go to Santa Monica, and I'm like, hey, the whole time I'm like, manipulating and lying, like, hey, this is what I'm gonna need. I'm making them think I'm willingly going to Mexico.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm gonna need this, I'm gonna need that. She's buying a bunch of shit, spending all kinds of money, taking all kinds of time off work to get this done.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, we've never been in the Pacific Ocean, right? Let's go swimming before I go to Mexico. Right. So as soon as we hit the water, I'm like, hey, I gotta use the bathroom, and I just chop off, run. Right. It takes me like 2.5 days to get to Huntington Beach.
Okay, so what part of Mexico are you in?
So it's Baja, California. Yeah. Tijuana, it was about an hour and 45 minutes south of Tijuana. A little place called Monteadero, Ensenada. It was like 45 minutes outside of Ensenada.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know how far you had to go back up.
Yeah. So I'm in California, and this...
Is it like desert like that you're going to?
It was mountains and...
I mean, dude, that's pretty
like ravines and shit.
That's first off, that's like either like serious like addiction or just partly crazy or both.
Yeah, probably
to fucking go, oh, okay, I'm just gonna hook it through the fucking Mexican wilderness. I mean, it's pretty crazy, dude.
It's crazy. Yeah.
How old were you?
15.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
Goddamn, dude.
And but so like I had been smoking crack, but I'm 15, 16 years old, you know. None of the friends in California are anywhere. They're like California people.
Right.
They were smoking weed,
Smoking
drinking.
weed, yeah.
California.
And so I'm like trying to not act like I'm a fucking
Hold on. I
crackhead.
still want to get like in the desert, dude. Like, so how was that trip, dude? Like, I mean, did you fucking have to spend the night or I want to hear more about the trek.
I'll get to that because
Okay.
I went there twice.
Even better. Okay.
So
all
the
right.
second time is when
All
it got crunk.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
And,
second. Okay. Cool.
So I go there. I'm hanging out, and I'm like, basically, I meet up with my homeboy, and his mom has like an RV in a parking lot next to a beach, and she's like, you can put a tent up outside of the RV. I'm like, bet, that's all I need.
Right.
I'll get by. Like, I don't need nothing from you. I'll steal everything I need. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm self-sufficient.
Yeah. Fuck. And so, anyways, but I'm hanging out with all these local kids, and I know there's like something different between the way that I party and the way that they party.
Right.
Because in my mind, I'm like, bro, like, we're gonna drink this bottle, but like, I need this bottle. Just
right.
And you guys are just having fun. Like, yeah, let's take a shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bitch, when it gets down to this, I'm taking it. Like,
Yeah.
this is mine.
Right.
You know. And
right.
I just,
That's like people like people that play drinking games. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't need no fucking game.
yeah,
to drink.
I'm trying to lose.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's
I'm
the
trying to
point.
lose.
Oops,
Yeah.
that quarter
Oh,
didn't
my
hit,
bad.
dude.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I steal some shit, go to juvenile hall in California, and whenever I get released, they're like, they have to release you to a guardian, and my guardians are in Texas, so the deputies like got me shackled in my clothes I got arrested in, walked me to the plane, and they let me board last, and so it's super awkward. Then they uncuff me, unchain me, and then the plane takes off, and I fly back to DFW, and then straight from DFW, I get on a van that like somebody drives me straight to Mexico. I'm there.
Right.
Dude, you should have been recruited by like the fucking black ops, dude. For real.
Crazy.
fucking Mexico, dude.
Yeah, well,
15, bro.
I want.
It's
Well, I
fucking
want.
James Bond. Dude.
I want to hear about Mexico Part 2. But
Mexico Part 2 is way better.
Sweet. Let's
This
throw
is
to commercial.
sick,
Commercial real quick. We've got Max the Axe, which is the Lone Star Injury Attorney. If you go to thispinklawyer.com, it will take you to his website, Lone Star
Unless the
Injury
internet's
Attorneys,
down.
and he practices in Texas, California, and he
California
will
and
get you the maximum results
Maximum results.
for your personal injury,
Injury
needs.
needs.
All right. So,
There we
and
go.
then also you or actually little Sheila.
Little Sheila.
has a book out.
Dude, everybody's gonna just call her Little Sheila.
Yeah,
It's
right.
so great.
Called,
dude.
called. Where did that happen? At your
Bro,
birth-
I
think
figured
it was
out-
at your birthday, dude.
Nope. Look, dude, I figured out the secret to calling people that we put the Lil in front of their name.
Yeah.
It has to be a short 2-syllable name.
Yeah.
Or just like a longer 1-syllable name.
Yeah, but
right?
no, when we came up
You know
with
what I
it,
mean?
like at your
No,
birthday
I just
or
fucking
something.
started calling people. And it started with this lady at my work. She's a super Christian lady, and she's super awesome. And
Right.
I was just walked out. I was like, "What's up, Lil Brenda?" And she I thought she would hate it, and she loves it, dude.
That's
so shout out
hilarious.
Lil Brenda
All
for
right.
letting me call my mom Lil Sheila.
Well, there
I
you
figured
go.
out the secret.
And y'all have your mom has a book out
Yeah.
called Two Calls, and then the
Yep.
website is twocalls.org. But you got a commercial.
Phone call as a parent that your son has been hit by a car and is being life flighted.
2 hours before we got the call, Chad had called me to tell me it was the best day of his life. And then I get another call, and a stranger had found him, and they were care flighting him to a trauma unit, and that he would start praying for our family that we needed to hurry.
You know, when you wake up on the operating table and they're like, "We're going to cut off both your legs," and then I wake up and then one's gone, the other one's in an external rod system. It's just not good. The real kicker is that I've had like all of these scars all over my arms, and that's all from complications resulting from drug abuse.
I never thought about giving up on him. Never. This is my son, and I know he's going to be okay. You cannot just have help for the addict. You have to seek out professional help. The whole family has been affected.
And I just want to make that very clear to anybody who's out there listening, that if I can do this thing as much as I've been through, man, there's a lot of wiggle room for people before they get to that point where they can do it too.
All right. And that is the infomercial for your mom's book called
Yes.
Two Calls. If you go to twocalls.org, it has both of y'all's websites or email addresses where they can get a hold of you. And then y'all you do speaking and stuff, correct?
Yeah, well, no, we do speaking engagements. I can't believe you would call it
speaking and
speaking and
stuff.
stuff. That's really stupid that you would say that.
Well.
They're actually engagements where we speak at.
Right.
And
is that where you engage people?
no, it's where we do speak stuff.
Oh, okay. That's where you do stupid stuff.
That's where we do speak
That's where
stuff.
you do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Are y'all on the circuit?
Yeah.
Or-
Where I don't know what circuit.
circuit
We
are
don't
you
we don't race cars.
I don't know,
We do speaking engagements if people want us to speak.
Okay.
About addiction and the family and
Sweet.
the whole machine and how it's been affected.
All right,
the book
cool.
was written
So, and
geared
then-
towards families.
Yeah, great. And
Towards
then-
families for resources.
Sweet.
Bro, shut the fuck up, dude.
All right, but no, they can get your mom's book at Borders Books or
No, dude. You're so old, dude. No, it's at
Barnes
the
and
Stonebriar,
Nobles.
Barnes and Noble,
Barnes and
Borders
Nobles.
Books, dude.
It's half price books.
What's your name? Chad Johnson?
All right, wrap it up, Chad.
Yeah, so it's available at twocalls.org on Amazon.
Sweet.
And stuff like that. But
Hey,
they can reach out to us at Chad at twocalls.org
Yeah,
or
I've
Sheila
already
at
said
twocalls.org.
that. Yeah.
No, you just said the email addresses were.
Yeah.
Oh, you said our websites are on our website. Is
I
what you
said your
said the first
email
time.
is on the website.
You did the second
Your
time.
email is on the website.
Yeah, you said it the second time.
Okay, well, that's tight, fool.
yeah, fool.
All right. Anyway, we also have a new song out called Fantasy, and here it is.
Yeah, man. Here we go. Like the Eric Andre show, dude.
and we are back
With Eric Schimmelfried.
That song is actually streaming on Spotify, all major platforms. Be sure and follow
Streaming
the Spotify.
on all major platforms.
Follow the Spotify.
Follow.
Follow the Spotify. Yeah. Anyway.
Back to our story with Eric Schimmelfinning.
The Spotify playlist if you can. And now back to Todd Johnson.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Todd.
Thank you.
But anyway.
Okay, so I'm
Mexico Part 2.
Mexico Part 2. I'm in Mexico and I'm like, okay, I know the ropes now. Like I'll be able to get in and out
Right.
real
I've
quick.
survived the wilderness of Mexico.
It's also
once.
like a faith-based program, so I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I know how to manipulate these people. But they're like, nah, bro, you're here for good.
Right.
Basically till you turn 18. So they didn't tell me that right away, but
Ooh, dude.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 3 years in Mexico.
yeah, well, about this time I'm like 16 and a half or something, like
2
almost
years and
17.
change.
Yeah. And so I'm like,
That was not math, dude. You said 16 and a half. You said 2 years and change. That's not 18,
Right, okay.
dude.
Anyway, regardless, back to your
character
story,
he's got.
Todd.
This character, dude, is great.
but it's still a 2-month program for everybody else.
Right.
So I've been there longer than a lot of the people.
Then the staff.
Exactly. Exactly. And I know how to like manipulate and run games. So like they're giving me the keys to like get in the pantry and get snacks.
Oh,
and this,
shit.
and that. So one day, I make real good friends with this kid. He was born in Cuba till he was 12. Then moved to Miami, and then he started smoking crack in Miami and got sent there by his family. So me and him are real good friends. And so one day we had traded like a little Walkman thing for a pack of cigarettes, and we were like smoking cigarettes. And I was like, "Hey, bro, really? Like, we were the ones like." He had been there for like 4 months or something like that. So he was like, I was like, we're probably not getting out anytime soon.
Right.
So, but whenever kids would run, because kids would always try to run, like we knew the area better than anyone. Because we had been there longer. So they
were like
help
the
us go."
bloodhounds.
Yeah, they were like, help us go find these people.
Right.
So I knew I knew how they looked for kids who ran away.
Yeah.
And I knew the way that they did it, and I knew like all the times this and that. So anyways, I'm like, hey bro, let's get the fuck out of here. He's not a American resident, so we gotta like break into the office, get his Miami residence card, his little green card. We take like $65 out of other kids' like personal property.
Oh, right.
And we dip.
Right.
It takes us.
And how old were you here? So how long have
Probably
you stayed?
16 and a half. I've been there 8 months.
So 8 months.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And so it takes us like 2 days to get to the border. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty crazy.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I'm saying, dude, it's the fucking Mexican desert.
Yeah.
At night,
die.
dude. Like,
People die doing this
scorpions, snakes, fucking
Stepping over bodies.
Yeah, and fucking cartel. I mean, dude, you name it, it's the fucking Wild West, dude.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's actually the wild Mexico.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know, like, should I keep telling, like, I could literally tell crazy stories, you know
All
what I mean? I don't
day.
want to take up all the
You
time.
can do this, bro.
But I will tell you one crazy story about overnight. Like, we're stuck. It's nighttime in Mexico, and my friend, he has this Cuban bottle of cologne, and we're like, yeah, let's get some fucking weed, bro. That's like,
He's got a Cuban bottle of cologne.
yeah. In Mexico,
Okay.
it's like you don't necessarily need money,
Right.
Like, hey, I'll trade you this.
Yeah,
you can walk
yeah,
up to
it's
taco
just
stand and be
border,
like,
yeah.
hey, I got this.
Right.
Hook it up.
Sure.
So we're like, yeah, that Cuban cologne, ain't nobody got that here. We
Right.
can get some
Sure.
something, whatever, you know.
Gonna get something special, right?
So we meet this guy. He's like, looks homeless. I don't know if he's homeless or what, but we're like, hey,
what do
don't
you
even-
got? dude?
yeah.
What
And
do you
he's
got?
like on some real sketchy shit. And he's like, yeah, follow me. We go down like so many alleys, and I'm like, bro, this is not where we want to be.
Right?
We need to get away from this situation.
We're getting ready to fucking lose one
Yeah,
of
yeah,
our
yeah.
kidneys.
Exactly.
here, right?
Well, and this is how I know like God's real, and He was there the whole fucking time, because I should not have survived this or many other situations, and it was just
Yeah.
like miracles happening when I look back and reflect. So out of nowhere, this car pulls up, and this Mexican lady gets out and starts screaming and cussing and slapping this homeless dude.
Right.
And we're like, okay, this is our chance to like,
Duck,
he's distracted,
right,
we can get the
yeah.
fuck out of here. Well, as I'm walking down the street and he's still getting like slapped and yelled at, there's a dude in her car sitting passenger, and he rolls down his window and he's speaking like perfect English. He's like, hey, you guys are from that boot camp, right?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, fuck, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? But he was like kind of smiling. I could just tell like in his
He
like
knows what's
energy,
up,
like
right.
he was supportive.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, what's up? We're trying to get some weed, da 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 da. He's like, hop in. And we hop in. Ended up, this guy owned like 6 strip clubs there in Ensenada. And was like, yeah, I got you, bro. Takes us to the movies, buys us like popcorn. We watched that movie, I Robot, but it's in Mexico, it's called Yo Robot. Swear to God. What the fuck? It was in English, but with Spanish subtitles. So we're like, perfect.
Well, now he wasn't like a
robot,
no, but
dude.
was he like a creeper? Like where he put like,
Nah.
hey, there's a hole at the bottom of the popcorn.
No.
bucket.
He was perfectly.
Watching your
he
robot
was-
with me.
he was
Come to the house.
So cool.
Right.
We did like do some driving around that city, and like we pull up, and we've been like around nothing but like kids. It was like
Right.
kids in one little bunkhouse that were from America that had problems with drugs and other shit. And then this other bunkhouse was local people from Mexico seeking treatment from.
Oh,
drug
so
addiction.
he kind of had his own like kind
No,
of.
he's
like,
talking. You're talking about the facility.
The
That you guys
facility
got
that
out
we were
of.
in, yeah. So we had been around nothing but dudes.
Right.
If we got caught looking at a girl or talking to a girl, they're like, "Hey, you got to dig a hole," and it was like literally like movies,
Like the movie Holes,
like the
yeah.
movie Holes. Like you got to dig a hole. It's got to be big enough for the shovel to go down this way, all this and that. And so, we hadn't seen no girls. We stopped. He stops at one intersection in this girl, and it was like obviously like prostitute vibes. I'm not gonna say that's what she was doing, but that's what the impression I got.
Right.
And pops out a titty, and me and Cuba are like,
Oh shit, dude!
bro.
Motherfucker,
And-
we're
yeah.
gonna have to dig a
Yeah,
hole.
yeah. And then we pull off, and he's like, "Yeah, that was a dude." Bro, Mexico's crazy like that.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, we stay at the lady that was slapping that dude around. We
Right.
stay at her house, her apartment. It was like everything there is.
Why? Okay, first off, why was she slapping the dude?
I don't
around?
know. I didn't
just
ask
for the
no
hell of it?
questions. I
Okay.
was just like,
All
yeah,
right.
let's go.
Yeah,
And
let's roll.
And so we stay there, and it's like shit is just built weird. Like there was literally houses built out of like 4 garage doors.
Yeah.
And a tarp. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Weird shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're there, and not her house. Her house was a little bit nicer.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, here's some weed, here's some bologna sandwiches. Y'all be good. You just got to get the fuck out of here in the morning.
Right.
And we're like,
Okay.
bet, thank you, you know? And so we do that. We get, we use the rest of the money that we have like bought cigarettes and stuff like that. And when the rest of the money that we had stole from the facility, we got tickets to Tijuana. So we
Okay.
get on a bus and get straight to Tijuana.
Sure.
But we're still like muddy as fuck from actually escaping the facility.
Right.
And so we got to walk across the border. And this was before you needed a passport to cross the border.
Right.
So we had his Miami residence card. And I'm just like, bro, I'm fucking white. I'll tell you my social security number. You know what I mean? I'm obviously, you
Bro,
know,
I'm
and
white.
it worked. But they were
Yeah.
still like, you're covered in mud. They pulled us over to secondary, and another like God moment where it's like, you shouldn't have made it. They were like, we know you guys are up to something. They searched us and this
Right.
and this and that. But they're like, get the fuck out of here before you get into like some real trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we cross the border. We're in America, San Diego. It takes us another like 3 days to get back to Huntington Beach because I'm like, I got homies out there. Da, da, da,
Yeah.
da. But so basically we were like homeless. We met this guy, and it was like we're just asking people for change, doing this and that to get to Huntington Beach. We got our way up there. We snuck on an Amtrak part of the way, and we get there, and I can't find none of my friends because it's been a minute. You know what I mean? People
Yeah.
moved, this and this and that. And so we're trying to get something to eat, and I see this big fat guy like carrying heavy shit
Right.
into
It might
like
be
a
food.
shopping center. And I'm like, hey, bro, you need some help unloading that little van you got? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he was opening a sandwich deli
Oh shit.
in Huntington Beach. And he's like, hey, you guys help me unload this van and I'll pay you. And while we're unloading the van and talking, I'm like running game, like, yeah, this is
I'm
that.
eating sandwiches.
Yeah,
and
I make
shit.
up a whole like fake
Right.
scenario of the situation that we're in where it's like, hey, we don't have anywhere to stay. He ends up letting us stay in the sandwich deli for like 6
Right.
months until it's actually about to be open for business.
That's cool.
Right before it gets open for business, we get arrested and go back to juvenile hall, and I'm there until like
In Cali or
in
where?
California. yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't TYC. It was like CY, California Youth Authority.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm there until like 2 weeks before I'm turned 18. And then it's the same thing though. Like 17 there, you're still a minor. Like, but anyways, they had to release me to an adult or a guardian.
Yeah.
So they fly me back to Texas, same thing. But by this time, it's like, hey, you'll be 18 in 2 weeks. Like, we can't tell you shit.
Right.
Obviously, we could never tell you shit, but like,
Yeah.
we're done trying to tell you.
Obviously, we could never tell you.
But
shit.
it's like,
That's true.
I'm still like basically like, I don't have a driver's license. I never really had a job, and now you're 18 and you're on your own.
Right, and now
So-
you can go to big boy jail.
Yeah. So I'm just staying with people I know, staying on their couches, this and that, and really like crippling drug addiction. That's my main goal.
Well, what
to
was
be okay.
yeah? So what were you hooked on by that time? Anything?
Well,
and
really, it
everything,
was
or
like
what?
a lot of institutions. So it's just like, okay, you got some axe, let's fucking huff it, bro. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like just whatever the fuck,
Yeah, right.
whatever the fuck I can get my
Axe
hands
body
on.
spray, yeah.
Yeah. But then when I come back to Dallas, it's like whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah,
And
it's a drug buffet.
yeah. So and I link back up with my brother, and because
Oh, and then what time? What year is this? Were you talking?
man, dude.
I don't do math. Okay.
Neither does
Well,
Kelly,
was it
dude.
before the
I was
shoot? It was
18.
before the shooting, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that was
we probably got like
2016.
a decade of us like running the streets together.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was 18, so I'm 37 now, so about 20 years ago.
Yeah. So yeah.
So 04, 03.
right around the turn of the century.
Yeah. Oxycontin's like
Yeah.
cheap, readily available. The whole neighborhood's doing it.
Uh-huh.
I'm like basically just staying at people's houses in the neighborhood, same as him. He goes to work, and I'm just like, I don't know how to fill out an application.
Right.
I'm gonna try to like just manipulate, steal, and try to sell drugs. But
could you not write at that time? Or I mean,
no, I know how to read and write and all this and that, but it's like, and really it was just like fears. Like, I feel like I'm.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to
I don't know what to say. I don't know how to
that.
act, bro. Like, I'm fucking still got dirt on me from
yeah.
Mexico type shit. Like, I'm not qualified to do this.
Right.
And there's a lot of fucked up
Y'all
beliefs.
got any wilderness tracking positions?
Yeah,
over
like,
there?
you want me to dig a hole?
Yeah. We're gonna be a park ranger.
Bounty hunter.
Anything, yeah, bounty hunter for sure.
Really, like, the first job I got was
Called dog.
First job I got and kept longer than like a month or 2 weeks was in sobriety, and it was like literally digging. You know what I mean? Like, I'm working for plumbers, I'm digging. I'm like, I got this, bro. You don't even know I got this.
He really do.
Dude, I dig the best holes.
Yeah, yeah. And so I get into drugs, and then that was when my dad died. And it's like all the things that I said I never was gonna do. Like, okay, I'm not gonna smoke crack. I ended up doing that, and then my dad dies from a heroin overdose, and I'm like, I'm taking like syrup, Vicodin, Xanax, Oxycontin, but I don't really know what the fuck that shit is.
Yeah.
I actually stopped because I'm like, yeah, man, I'm tired of like scratching my fucking face off and throwing up for weeks at a time. And so I'm like, let me just chill and do more like hallucinogens, this and that.
Right.
I need to chill. I'll just smoke and drink for a little while. And then I get sick and I go to the hospital. I'm like, hey, I think I got the flu.
Right.
And they're like, you ain't got no fucking fever. You know what I mean? And they start asking me like,
your drug use.
they ask me stuff and I'm like, what is the opiate? They're like, Oxycontin, Norco. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been taking a fuck ton of that shit. And
Yeah,
like,
2 or 3 of those.
You're having opiate withdrawals.
Right.
I'm like, oh fuck. And then I get back to the neighborhood and they're like, yeah, basically like that's heroin. Like you take this heroin and it'll make you feel better.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay,
good advice. Yeah. All right.
Let's take
And that's when like that started. And I still was like, and then it's like, okay, just don't shoot it up. Don't shoot it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if you just snort it, you're good.
Yeah. And then comes a time where I shoot it up, and then it's like, once you start shooting up, you're like, oh man, I do not want to keep living like this.
Yeah.
So you start trying to be like, okay, maybe I need to like make some different changes, like not do any drugs at all. And then that's when it's like, okay, there's a bigger problem than all this other like childhood shit. Like, how the fuck do I do this? And so I would try, and it's like, oh, you just need to get through the withdrawals. It's the withdrawals. And once you get through that, you know what I mean? It's just physical.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there's like a fucked up mental aspect of this disease that keeps taking me back to the first one.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Right.
And I didn't realize that for
and you would think
ever,
you would think that the physical withdrawals and everything would be
part.
enough. Yeah.
No.
But no, not so much. Yeah.
And so basically it's like 10 years of me gaining a fuck ton of experience of me thinking that I know how to do things and not really knowing how to do shit. And then me like,
well, you kind of do, dude. I mean, I got to give you props, dude. Like a little creativity on fucking.
I don't know how to stop taking drugs and stop.
The Mexican desert and going to fucking
Trudging
California,
the Mexican wilderness,
living
dude, at 15.
living in the back of a
Making it back
sandwich
to
shop.
America, bro.
I mean, it's pretty impressive, dude. I got to say.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's really like, that's just like instincts, like survival.
Right. Yeah, sure.
And coming into this program, I get to learn like the ways that it did work.
Right.
I survived, but the ways that it gets blown out of proportion because of my mental insanity.
Absolutely.
And fucking ends up causing harm in absolutely everything around me,
Right.
including myself and stuff like that. So I get a whole bunch of consequences. I get married. I have a daughter on methadone. There was one point where it's like we reached out to her family because like they're like, yeah, we can help you, but you got to go to this church. I'm like, okay, I don't give a fuck as long as you get us some help.
Right.
And then we get on methadone. We're on methadone for like 5 years. And
Methadone, I hear, is nasty. What was your experience?
Fucked up, bro. It's so fucked up.
It's so bad.
So fucked up.
Right.
And I'm
But
still.
I mean, they say it's
Yeah.
a better alternate than street, stuff. But
Well,
I mean, but it's
I
really
guess. I mean,
honestly,
I'm not shooting
it's
up
like
and I'm not stealing to
it's a
support my habit.
legal drug dealing, really.
Yeah.
That's all it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm still, my life is still unmanageable. I'm still like
Yeah.
super fucking powerless. I can't get a job. I can't like be a man that can like honor a commitment. I can't do
Right.
anything like productive. I can be of no value to anybody around me.
Yeah.
I'm just basically not stealing to support a habit and not putting needles in my body.
Right.
Because I can go there and take this. I'm still taking 15 Benadryl to fall asleep at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But I'm under the illusion that I'm sober.
Right.
And that everything's okay.
I love that.
And
Like
this
when
is
people,
what
yeah.
life is this is normal.
I'm living
life.
my best life.
Exactly.
I'm on methadone and it's great.
Well, the unmanageability of my life is like, okay, you can't get a fucking job and people aren't gonna fucking support you and your fucking methadone habit and your all these other things.
Yep.
For you, your daughter, and your baby mama. So it's like, okay, we're done. And then it's like, okay, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, we got a car, we can't pay bills, this and that. We can't even like successfully get to the methadone clinic every fucking day.
Yeah.
And then they fucking don't let you come to the methadone clinic anymore. So then it's like, oh, shit gets real.
Right.
But then you have a daughter, and it's like you think you've been sober this time. All of a sudden, you have a purpose and a value to your life, which is this daughter, and everything means. But then, because of like, I don't know, for whatever like I don't know, it's so fucked up, bro. And this is when shit like snapped. Like now I've never really had anything to lose to begin with, but then you got like the universe gave me something to lose, and then I lose it, and now it's like savage mode. Like I don't give a fuck who, what, where. Like this emotional pain hurts so bad I can like feel it physically. And my only solution for this is to continue using drugs.
Right.
And I don't give a fuck who gets in the way. I'm sorry. Like, I love you. I care about you, but my bad.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it was years of doing that and really not like wanting to stop. I don't want to do this. I want to get my shit together and like be the dad that I always thought I had potential of being.
Right.
And this and that. And I would go to jail and finally be like, okay, now I can get through these withdrawals. I'm not detoxing methadone and heroin and meth and crack and all this other wild shit. Everything's going to be okay. But then I get released and I still can't manage the decision not to pick up the first motherfucker.
Right.
And so I pick it up and then it triggers this fucked up ass
Yeah, it's
allergy.
the chain.
And it's this cycle that just gets repeated.
Well,
This
what?
bitch
Okay,
ass-
so what finally was the fucking last
I
straw?
get arrested.
Okay.
And I was not trying to get arrested. I had given up on trying because I'm tired of trying so many goddamn times and failing. And that hurts. So I'm like, I'm done trying to get sober. Like, I'm just going to accept
Well,
this
yeah,
guy.
because you just, you feel like a fucking
Yeah.
loser or a failure.
Yeah. I'm just going to accept it. And then I'll maybe have, like, I can get some peace with the fact that I'm just
Right.
like my father and I'm this.
Right.
This,
It
and that.
ain't going to change.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I get arrested. We're in the same floor on the North Tower, and we're doing the, Rochambeau for push-ups. This is I shoot him a kite. We go to Rec Yard. We're talking. And then, like, a little while later, I see him carrying his mattress and all his property off the floor. And so when the guards walk through, I'm like, hey, where the fuck you take my brother? They're like, he kited out to the Apple dorm.
Yeah, dude.
And I don't know what the fuck that is. I'm
I
just
don't
like,
need, well, first
APA,
off,
yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, dude. It's recovery.
it's
Okay.
like an AA dorm.
Yeah,
Okay,
dude.
cool.
So I'm just really like bored on the kiosk, and I'm thinking maybe they'll put us in the same dorm if I fill out that same kite.
Right.
So I do it, and maybe a month later, he's coming back up to the North Tower.
Right.
I made it 2 weeks over there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was like 2
Those
weeks.
program pods are tough.
Yeah, they're tough.
I did them.
And so they called me out that same day, but when I get there, I'm like, fuck, I'm in the South Tower now.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
shit.
Which is way more comfortable, way more chill. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'll stay here. Fuck the North Tower. It's like, yeah, I got to see my brother in the Rec Yard every once in a while. I got to see him through the window, but like,
Right.
realistically, that's probably not going to last long anyways. One of us is going to get sentenced, catch chain,
Right.
whatever. And so let me just
You
be comfortable.
Tap on the window and do these two.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And but the people in the new dorm are like, hey, you got to go to one meeting a week to stay in this dorm.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck it, I ain't got nothing to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So let me go. And then I start noticing, like, even though I don't understand what the fuck y'all are saying, or I'm not like super paying attention, I'm at this super like spiritually desperate spot where like just being in the presence of somebody like recovered and have a solution, even if I'm not paying attention, I would come out of that room and like feel better.
Yeah,
and I
right.
started noticing that because you have nothing but time to reflect on shit. And so I was like, okay, let me keep going. Then I start going to maybe more than one meeting a week to stay there, you know? And then I start seeing people, like somebody comes in there to carry the message, and this motherfucker, like he was talking about like you sound like a real dope fiend.
Yeah.
Like you do dope the same way that I do dope, and you sound like you were just as hopeless as I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you when you say you're leaving this jail, you're not finna go get loaded, and that you want to be here just for the simple fact of helping other people and change shit. And I was like, okay, maybe there's a fucking chance, like a small chance. I don't really know, but based on my experience of coming in this room and walking out of this room, I feel better. I'll just keep doing it just for that. You know what I mean? And it was like almost like they read the promises. I'm like, yeah, I just want some of that. I don't care. I don't care about like me waking up dope. See, I'll be a heroin addict if I can just have some of these promises. You know?
Well, they and like what you just said is like keep coming back. 'Cause it works if you work
For
it.
sure,
You know
for
that
sure.
bullshit. But it's true.
Yeah, I literally thought like, okay, yeah, there's no way I won't live and die the rest of my life a dope fiend. But if I can just possibly get some of what they got,
Right.
it'll make being a dope fiend and this miserable less miserable, you know? Yep. And so I'm like, okay, I start slowly, like becoming more and more open-minded to this program and like spiritual principles and shit like that. And then one meeting they're talking about a fifth step, and like I have a full-blown panic attack in the fucking meeting.
Yeah. Right.
And like I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Right.
I gotta go.
I gotta go to Mexico.
Who's got gabapentin? I'll snort some fucking coffee.
Gabapentin, dude.
You know what I mean? Like who's got hooch burning?
yeah.
Like I'm restless, irritable, and
who's got
discontent.
some Seroquel?
Exactly. And
Right.
I don't get none of that. And I realized later on, like when I'm laying in my bunk just thinking about shit, like why the fuck did them talking about this make me react like this?
And what did you come up with?
And this is like, I wasn't asking for it, but I think God was inspiring my thinking before I even started asking. I think that, because in the moment I said, maybe your spirit, because I know like, I don't know, like, I know that there's spiritual shit and there's physical shit. And it's like, maybe your subconscious or your spirit was like, this is what needs to be done for you to get better. And my conscience, who is opposing that, healing or recovery was like resisting that.
Yeah.
And that's where the conflict came from. And that's where the reaction happened. And I was like, you know what, like if that's the only way, like it was just like I could feel it, like this is what needs to be done. Might be the only thing that could work.
Right. And then how old were you when that happened? Like
I was
when
32. I'm 37 now.
Yeah, how many years clean do y'all have each?
5.
So both same time?
Yeah, we got locked up like 4 months apart. So
Oh wow,
Yeah,
dude, that's cool.
I got arrested with like 4 grams of heroin. I snuck into jail, and then I was drinking hooch and like all this other. So
Oh shit.
my sobriety date is 4/21/19, but I got arrested for 4/19.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But as far I didn't think about it because I was.
Well, now do y'all both have like sponsors? Did y'all
Yeah.
do that the
yeah.
whole thing?
Yeah,
all the
still
way.
do it.
Yeah.
Still do it.
And then
still
are y'all
sponsor people.
And are you sponsoring people now?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
in my opinion, like I'm gravely affected by this disease, and so my solution has to be gravely progressive. Just like my disease.
You have to
Yeah.
be gravely active in your recovery,
exactly.
like you were in your addiction. I get it. Yeah.
But so I become more and more open minded for the first, and I'm locked up a good amount of time where it's like I read this book 5-6 times because I didn't have a bunch of books, and I felt better when I read it, and I had people in the dorm that were like, "Hey, start reading."
And you're
86.
talking about the big book or what?
The big book,
yeah,
Alcoholics Anonymous, yeah.
Right.
And people were lacing me up on stuff, and I was hungry for it. Like all of a sudden, instead of me not paying attention, I would go in there and ask them shit, like real shy and timid.
Right.
First, be like, "Hey, what about this?"
Right.
And they would answer me. They were more than willing to help.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so I started reading the book. I read it a whole bunch during that time, and by the time I get out, I'm like, I know. I started going to every meeting I could in there. Like if I missed a meeting in there, I was fucked up about it. You know what I mean? I was like, why the fuck didn't y'all wake me up and tell me there's a fucking meeting going on? And so when I get out, I get a sponsor. I start going to meetings, and I'm on like stiff ass probation, which I didn't really ever give a fuck about that. I'm just like, let me do this, and then all of a sudden, like I've never completed a probation ever. As soon as they let me out, I'm like, I'm gone.
Right.
And I just like tried to work this program like my life really depended on it, because I knew my life really does and did depend on it.
It's
And then
funny
probation
how
was like easy.
But it's funny how y'all came to that, conclusion at the same time.
It's crazy, bro. It's a miracle.
It's kind of crazy how it worked out, man. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it's your dad or your mom or both of them looking after you.
For
you
sure,
know what
bro.
I mean?
Yeah, I think there's like a brotherly, like we need each other,
Right.
and the process, our step working process of learning how to be a brother,
Right.
has bonded us
Right.
through the 12 steps.
I gotta
It's
ask.
fucking
I gotta
weird.
ask. How is your poor sister?
Oh, it's cool, bro. And that's the best thing about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I get to make amends to her in
Right.
step 9 and be like, hey, even though like I'm not happy about your role in it, but this isn't about your role. This is about the harm that I've caused,
Right.
And the way that I lied, manipulated, took advantage, stole, and
Sure.
fucked you over,
Yeah.
and ruined your fucking middle-aged child, or whatever,
Right.
like section of
Yeah,
your
sure.
fucking life.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I'm able to forgive you for the delusional harm that I think you've caused me. And then all of a sudden, she's in a position where she's like, you know what, maybe my intentions were good, but that was not the best way to do it. And then
Right.
all of a sudden, we're like close as fuck.
Right.
She's a preacher. Like, we get to talk about all kinds of cool spiritual shit. And
Well, that's cool.
yeah, bro.
That's
It's,
fucking
it's
badass,
motherfucking
dude.
powerful what it's done for in our little family. What's
Well,
left of our
yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Well,
it is.
but now you have kids, right?
I have that daughter. I still don't get to see her. Like,
Okay. Well, but at some
but I'm
point,
okay. I'm not
yeah.
okay with, like, it's not like the life I live, but I still, despite life still being not ideal or perfect, like,
Right.
life is still life. That's just the way it is. But now I have tools to, like, deal with shit. I have people I can call on. I have, like,
Yeah.
I have a spiritual toolkit that is like,
Well, and I
goddamn
always
snap
say
on,
that's
you know what I mean?
yeah. That's the biggest, one of the biggest parts of recovery and staying active in that, but also having that community. You
Yeah,
know, because if you don't have a community, then you're out on the street smoking kratom.
Smoking kratom. Yeah.
smoking.
You're taking the kratom.
And the next
Jeff
thing-
Boof's
The
kratom.
next thing that happens, you're going to be hearing this.
I think that's
You're
what
right.
that question mark.
Is that the a little
Kratom.
was that a little desert music?
Yeah, that's desert music.
Little
for you.
tribute to Mexico.
I like
El
it.
pinche
Well, dude,
kratom,
I appreciate you coming on, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah,
for having
dude,
me,
that was a
man. It's
badass story, badass stories, and I love that y'all are both
Actively
yeah.
in a program of recovery, recovering. Because that's what the word recovery would imply, right? Is that we are recovering from something. And it's nice to meet people that are actually actively doing the fucking shit.
And helping other-
recovering,
and helping other men
other people
do it,
recover,
too.
dude. That's the
There
whole
we go.
fucking point of it,
Hey,
right?
well, I think it's cool, man. It's like y'all are two of my like dearest friends, and Lisa as well, and you guys too. But like,
Shut up,
This is
Jeff.
like recorded forever. We can like listen to this like 10 years down the road and be like, "Hey, look at you, just
Bro,
said
that's
that
fucking
dumbass shit
wild.
right
You
there."
just blew
This
my
is
mind
shit.
right now.
Yeah,
We've
dude.
had many conversations, but this is like the only one that's like recorded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like Jeff says, we're just a bunch of dope fiends sitting around talking
Yeah.
about recovery.
There's just a bunch of dope fiends that are
No,
sitting in the room.
I'm just an
Well,
alcoholic.
and
No, no,
dope
no,
fiends and
Kelly's a
alcoholics.
pussy.
That's right, dude. Whatever.
Alcoholics are the worst,
I love
dude.
it. Yeah, alcoholics are
They're
just
so messy.
liars.
They're just fucking
Yeah.
liars.
Liars.
Messy.
That's what I love. Yeah.
That was fucking Mike and Andrew. They were like, alcoholics are just the worst, dude.
Losers.
Fucking
Yeah,
liars,
right.
dude. They're just liars.
Like, yeah, right. Exactly. Dude, you're making me want to go to Ponchos.
Let's go. Do you
Dude,
raise the
Poncho's still
flag?
exists.
Raise the
flag.
There's one
Fucking
Poncho
flag,
still in the
dog.
area. I saw
Nice.
somebody posted on Instagram the other
It's a
day.
mesquite.
It's off Gus.
love it.
Jamie,
No, right there, right there over
Jamie,
down near
pull-
Dolphin Road.
Jamie, pull up Ponchos. Pull up the Mexican buffet, please.
Jamie.
Anyway, all right. So,
He said
but thanks
Jimmy.
for coming
You
out.
can't get any
I
name
appreciate
right, dude.
it. And then remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take 2 minutes.
Activate.